All right, go on ahead.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. So what brings you joy? I'm seeing a whole lot of your neighborhood people brought you joy. Your plants brought you. I love my plants, so I think I might have drowned them because I was like anxious. So, but they too will come back. But a whole lot of celebration of community and environment and just being one in relationship with whoever and all that is around you. And so that is like the space I want to encourage all of us to be in, because today in our conversation we're going to talk about the relationship between what we currently do, which is mutual aid, but like our lives with our relationships with our neighbors, to the relationship with our environment, to just the excitement of transition, of seasons. There's all intersected. They're all related, right? Because depending on how cold, how hot, neighbor might be mad, plants might die. Or, depending on how beautiful or weather appropriate, everything is encouraged, rooted, and rich, and everybody's all, vibing and growing together. And sometimes it's a little bit off. And then like, how do we still keep it moving and moving forward to be more of what I like call the beloved community. And so for those who might not know me, my name is Leah Clyburn. I am I have many hats, but I actually am an organizer here in St. Louis. And what I will say is I've been organizing officially 10 years as of Labor Day, because that too was a day on back in the day for me. It was nice to be able to be like, oh, I can like not have to do anything today. Today we're going to go in and we have some questions, but I want to also encourage folks that if you have questions, to please use, raise your hands, whatever. We have some amazing speakers. And so we have folks that are going to speak to what it looks like to connect what we do with mutual aid to the work that they currently do in organizing throughout St. Louis in their own professional lives. Right, really lifting up intersectionalities and how do we get creative with it. So without further ado, let's see.
I'm going to jump in really quickly on the subtitles. I know if I didn't realize that not everyone can see them. So it is also, it's an option on your screen. So you have to go to more and then you can click subtitles. It's like subtitle settings or something if you want to turn it on. So if you are having trouble and would like to use that, change that setting and let us know if you need help. And then the other thing, Mama Cat was going to join us, but I haven't heard from her just yet. So it might be the case that it's just we have Erica Williams here and Tessa, and then I think we should just have a discussion more so than like a panel, but to make sure we hear from you. Yeah, Kendra, did you want to chime in? See that your hand is raised.
Y'all forgive me. Battery died again. So I think I need another battery. So I am in the parking lot of Drake's Place in Ferguson. Mr. Williams is about to jump my car. But hello, everyone. And
again, I just jumped.
I know. I think I need a new battery. Yeah. I think it's tired. I think I drive too much.
You think?
Right. Yes. I will just say though that today was absolutely fabulous. A lot of people talked about their plants and being outside, bringing them joy. And in general, my kids and family bring me joy. But today was an outdoor day with plants, with people, with fresh air, with breathing. And you don't realize how much you miss breathing without a mask until you can actually take it off and just walk and breathe and not have to worry about getting too close to people in the store and all that kind of stuff. So I encourage everyone, if you have not spent some time outside without your mask in these past couple of weeks or months, please do so.
Yeah. And on that note, also, think about our brothers and sisters over on the West Coast who are dealing with that craziness over there too. So got a lot of work to do, y'all. Anyway, so through the lens of joy, right? What is your vision for your community, and how are you working towards that? You know, when COVID hit, I personally had a nervous breakdown. I didn't know it was happening until I noticed it was happening. And I was just like, how do I gotta get creative, right? Because I know I'm gonna get phone calls from community, and that happened. And so Dessa, especially within, could you share a little bit about like the background of like what you do as an organizer? And then like, how does that fit in your, what we call the theory of change, right? For your vision for the community. And then how have you, you know, intersected the work of mutual aid in this process?
Yeah, thanks, Leah. Hi, everybody. I'm Dessa. She, her pronouns. So I started Maple Good, which is technically a pod under St. Louis Mutual Aid. We cover both Maplewood and Richmond Heights. We started about the same time that mutual aid started. So it was in March, and it grew very organically. So it was originally just supposed to be like grocery shopping and delivery for elderly folks. It blew up because it started, there was a lot of movement during that time of like, okay, we're in a pandemic. We were in like crisis mode, and a lot of people were thinking like, how do we connect with each other? How do we help those that need to be helped? How do we kind of be a community? And I was lucky enough to be able to use all of that momentum to start this group. So our platform is actually on Facebook, which is not my favorite thing, but it works for our group. Like we have a lot of people in Maplewood, Richmond Heights who are already on Facebook, who are already organizing in their own ways, and it just worked for us. So it's not ideal, but that's the main platform that we're using, and we're currently like trying out different, we just started a website, there's talk of an app, so there's like talk of different ways of reaching out to people and connecting everybody. Our organization, we decided early on, we do not want to be like, we don't want to be an NGO 501c3, and we're trying as much as we can not to fit under that charity kind of group. But mutual aid is like the ideal of what we want to do, and that's what we're striving for. And it's not easy. We are too big. So we're 2 cities, like municipalities. We reach a lot of people. We're over 1,000 people that are like in our Facebook group and that we're reaching out to who are not in our Facebook group. So we're a big group, and what we're actually doing now is we are, we're making pods within Maple Good so that we have like little smaller neighborhood pods that are within Maplewood and Richmond Heights to see maybe that's going to work better, so that we want to meet the needs of the community. We want to connect people, but it's hard to do when we're so many people, but we're trying to like experiment on how to kind of make it all work so that we are using the momentum to meet the needs, as well as building the relationships and making sure that it's mutual. A lot of what we do is we're just a platform for people to come up with ideas for programs and activities and events, and then they're able to use like the networking that we have and the relationships that we have already. So people will come to us with an idea. We have like a rock caterpillar that somebody had this idea in a park where they've started. It's like a community art project where basically people are painting rocks and then they're adding it to the caterpillar. And now the caterpillar is like going around the entire park. It's so long. And it was just somebody who like wanted to do this fun project and is able to use Maple Good as a platform to reach the community and build the relationships with people who are interested in that. So that's kind of like a fun activity, but we also have, when school started back up and they decided to go virtual, there's a big concern about what's going to happen to those students who are going to be at home by themselves all day because their parents have to work and they don't have other options. And what can we do to step in? So we have a group now that's working on this project to do tutoring and mentoring and workshops for students in Maplewood, Richmond Heights. And that was just organically people in the community wanting to step up, and us using our relationships with the school district and with youth in need and with other organizations already working together. So as the platform, you know, we have lots of different programs that we're doing, and we're trying to keep it as rooted in mutual aid as we can and as organic as possible. Again, that's the goal. It's not easy when we're so many people, but that's kind of what we're striving for. I think on the organizing part, it's also been really helpful. We have mini pantries, so food and hygiene pantries. We have 8 of them in Maplewood and Richmond Heights, and 3 of them are on city property. We got permission from the city to put them on city property, and then they pushed back and said like, oh, we just meant temporarily. Like now we're getting complaints from people and from businesses, and actually like you're against some ordinances and some zoning laws. So we were able to write an open letter to the city, and we got 320 signatures from community members that were in support of these mini pantries. And, you know, it was I think it was within 24 hours. We only like had the letter open for 24 hours. It was only online. So it wasn't even like us going out into the community to get signatures. This was just something quick that we wanted to do to send in. And we were able to get so much community support that the city of Maplewood is now writing legislation to keep mini pantries on city property. Like they're writing ordinances so that it's okay that we can keep our mini pantries. So community change is happening. I think it's important, like I said, to stay grounded and to also use the platform as education as to what is mutual aid and why it's important to build relationships with our community. And I think it's us needing to remind ourselves of that. Luckily, we have an advisory board that is really on board with all of those messages. And the advisory board also consists of city council members and lawyers and just moms and people who like elderly people, and we're trying to get students. So we're trying to kind of use that as like the mission, the vision to keep ourselves centered in the work that we're doing so that we don't get like kind of distracted by some of the projects that keep up a lot of the work that we're doing.
Yeah, no, I love that. So what it sounds like to me is that you all became an organization through using your resources that you all had. Is that about right?
Yeah, so I mean, I think we started just by kind of disseminating resources that we already had. Like somebody needed a piece of furniture, we found somebody who had it. Somebody needed money for medicine, we got the money so that they could buy their medicine. It's just like redistributing resources within our own community, and then trying to build the relationships at the same time.
So we have Mama Cat with us, who all the good stuff. So Mama Cat, what we started off talking about is in this moment of COVID that we're in and being a part of mutual aid, and we all know that mutual aid is very much so intersected in people's like everyday life. It could hit everything. And then so especially with the work that you do, could you speak on how mutual aid, how you've intersected the values and the process and the resources from mutual aid to help assist in the work that you do within the community. And for, I mean, I assume everybody knows, but just for, you know, shits and giggles, let's go ahead and you what it is that you do to help us all.
Thanks for letting me be a part of this, first of all. And I want to apologize for coming on a little tardy. I'm in the kitchen right now, preparing to get food out, you know, to our unhoused family. So I had to run and get on here real quick. So my name is Kathy Daniels, Dr. Daniels, Mama Cat. I'm the founder and CEO of Pot Bangers Feed the Body Mission. We serve our unhoused and our underserved communities in St. Louis. We've been doing this work here in the St. Louis area for 6 years. And when COVID came, it was really tough. And for myself, being a person immune compromised, I had to sit back for a minute and figure out what it looks like to be able to continue to serve the community and, you know, keep myself and the rest of the Pot Bangers family. And so, like, mutual aid, like, I wasn't able to just get things like I would normally get things. And so it was pretty tough. Like, Erica came and brought stuff to me, you know, different people came and brought stuff to me so I could continue to get things out there, working along with some of my partners with the Urban League, with the, you know, the county that helped find shelter for people that was without shelter, because a lot of shelters didn't want to let people in because of fear of COVID. So it was a lot of tough moments that we got through. We had a house donated to us, but we couldn't really get people to come out and do work because of the fear of COVID. So, you know, because through mutual aid, I met Kendra. Kendra is dope. And he managed, you know, project manager, I want to say I said the word wrong. But just this past Saturday, we had a group come out and tear down the old carport that needed to get tore out. We pulled all the carpets out of there. And this is going to be a home for cis, trans, and queer women. So this is going to be a transitional home. And had not been for bringing resources together that only a mutual aid can do, you know, none of us probably can get the things done that we do. So shout out.
Yes. Oh, all that is, woo, that's all good things. So Erica, so as some of y'all know, Erica is like dealing with some car situation. Erica, you there?
Uh-oh. Hang on. Yes, I switched cars.
You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm rolling now.
There you go. So be safe while you're driving. First and foremost, because we need you, because you live all the way. Okay. Just clear. Spanish Lake is too far. Anyway, so how do you intersect the work that you have done with mutual aid with the work you do with food, with well, I'm not gonna tell all your business. Why don't you share a little bit about what your organization does and how mutual aid intersects with that?
Yeah, so I rolled up my window so you guys can hear me a little bit better, hopefully. But we started out the year with some programs planned, you know, to get healthy food into the homes of new and expectant mothers, and to teach nutrition classes. And we also had a dinner planned at St. Peter's for the homeless. We were going to work with Mama Cat on that also for the end of March. So we had a bunch of like supplies that we normally don't keep, diapers and hygiene kits, and actually still have a bunch of diaper bags and diaper genies and things like that that we were going to use for the moms. And once COVID hit and we had to go into quarantine, I didn't want all of that stuff to just kind of sit and wait for the pandemic to lessen for us to use it. I wanted to get it out into the hands of the community. And so me and Julie and some other folks were talking because we were starting our rebirth project with Black and Indigenous women and leaders. And so she was telling me about STL mutual aid and how we can get some help out to the community. And at first I started taking diapers to families and started meeting people who were working with families to take them diapers. And then I began to learn about families in North County that needed groceries because the husband was laid off work or the father was laid off. And we started taking groceries, and then I started learning about more families in North County to eventually it kind of like became this operation, going from, you know, helping 5 families for the first week and 10 the next week. The third week was like 20 families, and it was like, okay, I need to get some help, some, you know, operations going on, because a Red Circle is already a nonprofit organization. And so I began to ask for volunteers to help me call families to get some specific information about their needs, family size, food allergies, things of that nature. And at first I was taking all of the groceries and things to families, and then I was able to hire someone part-time, and then she started taking some groceries also, but then that became still too much. And so I was like, okay, now I need some help driving, with folks driving. So Leah came out and drove all through Spanish Lake one Saturday, and Kendra found me some other drivers to come. And it was kind of one of those things that North County doesn't see a whole lot of social service agencies, even though there's a lot of need in North County. And so that's part of the I don't know what you call it, misnomer. A lot of times people think because it's St. Louis County, if you look at St. Louis County overall, St. Louis County is doing fine. It's pretty affluent. It's a tax base for the state of Missouri, basically. However, in North St. Louis County, where it is predominantly Black and some Hispanic families, there's a lot more need than within St. Louis County overall. And so a lot of times social service agencies are located within St. Louis City, but not in St. Louis County and North County. And so it appeared like even from the time that we got started, we were in Ferguson, you know, some parts of Florissant, Hazelwood, Jennings, Delwood, Wellston, Normandy. Eventually, we began to get requests out from Maryland Heights, Britain, St. Anne, and these are areas that the people who live in these areas don't even like to consider themselves North County. They like to consider themselves West County because it sounds better, because St. Louis is directional, and they want to, you know, break up everything into where you live and where you went to high school because of some, you know, perceived betterment than other people. But when it came time for them to get help, groceries, cleaning supplies, hygiene products, they reached out to mutual aid also. And so we've expanded our territory a lot since this has happened. We keep a map that we jot down all of the addresses on, and the map is like stretching further and further out west, which is, you know, fine, because if we have it to meet the need, we will meet the need. We won't turn anyone away if we don't have to. But it is helpful to get the resources and the supplies and the funding that we need so that we can meet these needs. Because again, because we're in the county, a lot of times philanthropy dollars do not come into the county. But since we're in North County, St. Louis County doesn't always invest, they have not invested in a long time in North St. Louis County. And so we're caught in the crux, in kind of a juxtaposition of funding dollars from both economic development and from foundations. So that's been one of the big challenges of a Red Circle in general, not just in mutual aid, but thankfully, because, and it's kind of like one of those silver linings, even though COVID hit and had us to change all of our programming and cancel stuff, it has really shined the light on the racial disparities within St. Louis County, within North County. So that's what I've been taking away from making this something that we can do for the long term in terms of organizing. I know that was
No,
a lot.
no, but that was right. You know, that told the story, right? And so, you know, sometimes, you know, so I personally, as an organizer, I mentor a group of women in this work, and you know, we get caught up in doing this work and thinking of, oh, I'm a volunteer, or oh, I'm serving the community, but we are also publicizing the. Do I have? Is this to record? Do I have to watch my? Can I just say? Can I,
I'll say
Julia?
what you gotta say.
Okay, so sometimes, right? Because we're the bullshit, right? Is being laid on us in hopes that we don't talk about it because we live in Missouri and we're kind of nice, right? But
Yep.
that's not getting anybody anywhere. And so mutual
No.
aid really answers the call of, let's be clear, the white supremacist structure that exists in Missouri County, city areas,
Yep.
right? And so
Yep.
it also gave a strong platform and a uniqueness to our ability to truly call out, you know, community leaders, community, you know, industries who say that they're in support of. And so as for me, as an organizer, I've been tearing everybody's ass up. I'm like, oh, so you a church? We need you to do mutual aid. Oh,
Yep.
you don't know what that is? You not because I got you 4 churches, so they're on their way. They're getting coached by Reverend Burton, and then I'm bringing it to you because your area was too big.
Yeah.
I don't like driving. It was pretty.
And
Outside.
I only gave you 63138. So a red circle normally services 12 zip codes. Well, like I said, because of COVID and just, you know, when you're not meeting needs in general, when a pandemic hits, it slams.
Yep.
And so families that were barely holding on, you know, trying to maintain whatever they had going on, once they had to leave work and all those types of things, we added on, I'm sure, like maybe 3 or 4 zip codes, but it's still just a red circle and a plethora. And I mean, gung-ho volunteers. My callers are like located all over the country, not just here in St. Louis. My drivers, you know, I have a 17-year-old kid who comes to a red circle after school and he takes orders to families. And, you know, it's one of those things that when the need is out there, you kind of have to put ego aside. You have to put whatever it is that you feel like you're doing well and realize you need help. And do not have any shame in asking for help, whether it's give me some guidance on how to set this up, give me some space. I put the need out because we got a bigger, larger space at the Wilson Center. And, you know, it costs, and it costs extra. Even though the center is below market, it's not free. And so for our Giving Black Day this year in August, I put it out there. We need to raise $1,500 for the pod. Julia was like, I can bring you $1,500. So I was like, thank you very much. This is for the pod. Now I'm going to put this out there and have people match it. So what ended up happening was we were able to raise more. And so now we're able to get all of our school supplies. We're going to be able to get hats and gloves and scarves for kids this winter from the network, the Mutual Aid Network, because things aren't coming back to quote unquote normal soon enough. So we know in this winter, it's going to get rough. It's going to get rough. So we want to plan ahead of time so that we're not scrounging and, you know, kids are walking to school, because there are some kids still at school. There are some kids that are going to school, you know, hybrid. There are kids that may have to go to grandma's house and other places. They need those coats and those hats and gloves. And so we want to make sure we have those things in place. Yeah. So I appreciate one thing that's really cool, and I'm not even sure where we are in the discussion because I was driving, but I really appreciate how this network has grown. It started, well, for me, it started because of the pandemic, because we couldn't get rid of the stuff that we had planned to share with people. But I love how it's becoming a thing that we know will last after the pandemic, because it's really helped us to reach a lot of people. You know, we went from taking groceries to Now we have volunteers that were people in the network that were getting help. We were able to take school supplies and backpacks and things to families in the region. Now we're going to be talking about tutoring, and so it's kind of helped us grow our client base, which is going to help us plan, like I said, for the long term in terms of the bigger changes that we need to see within North County.
Yeah, no, that's beauty. So like all of that, right? So I mean, I want to encourage people to hear some of that, because like also what we also would encourage you to think about, like, we're not using the pandemic and we're not using mutual aid, right? We're acknowledging the intersections of this opportunity, right? To lift up the shit that we've been fighting for anyway, right? This is how we win, right? Is by not being silent, by stepping up, by calling in, and by letting, you know, your actions and your voice be heard. So to the rest of the group, the question goes out to you. How do you see, and we'll take like 2 or 3 to keep things moving along. How do you see, you know, mutual aid intersecting in your work? You don't have to be an organizer, because let's be clear, you're organizers now. If you weren't before, you are. Later on, we'll get y'all to training, but so, but how do you see it? How do you see it? Now, I pretty much work with almost everybody on this call at some point in time. Don't make me call you, because I will. Kendra. Oh, go ahead, Shiraz.
Oh no, I was going to say like how I would like mutual aid to work inside of the work that I do. So I'm one of the lead community health workers on the Homebound project at the Integrated Health Network. And we specifically now have 5 community health workers to service the county. So when it becomes too much for you all, we actually have pots of money that are just waiting to be utilized. So I would like people in the different pods, especially in North County. Erica, I'm looking at your blank thing. I'm looking at you because it's like, we need to be servicing people in the county areas because, you know, the need out there is great, and we actually have the capacity to handle that need. So I would love to connect with anybody who's definitely serving North County so we can talk about how to make referral processes into us. Pardon me. And we are now, based on some of the trends that we've been seeing on the people that we serve, we are having a lot of pregnant moms who are being impacted in regards to housing. Yep. So thankfully, we are now at the table with the St. Louis Housing Defense Collective. So if anybody else would like to join us in that conversation around housing, you know, just based on what have you seen, just so we can start pulling this information together to actually elevate it. Because part of the work that we also do is dealing with infant mortality and maternal mortality rates. And in the city of St. Louis, in Missouri, Black women are 4 times more likely to die in childbirth. And I think it's like 6 times, Black children are 6 times more likely than white children to not see their first birthday. However, if you are a resident of the city of St. Louis, you are, as a Black woman, you are 7 times more likely to die in childbirth. Sit with that for a moment, y'all. 6 classrooms of Black children do not see their first birthday.
Absolutely. That was why we were going to start working with Jamal Birth Village in Ferguson to do our healthy mom and baby dinners with food, with, you know, resources, and help to relieve some stress and to help them, you know, advocate for their health, because we know that some of it is, you know, prenatal vitamins, nutrition, but a lot of that is medical bias. A lot of that is medical indifference.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it has a lot to do with housing. Just stress around that. pardon me, without disclosing any sensitive information about this community member, we did have a community member that we were serving, and she had a stillbirth. And it was due to the stress just around losing her job, just attempting to pull it together. And facing eviction it's anxiety inducing. So we've had that case study on our team so far. And it's heartbreaking when you experience something like that, because for somebody like myself, you know, the historical tie, the systemic historical racism tie to that, and to see it happening in real time while you're serving someone, it's some painful shit. So I say all that to say that I would like our teams to start intersecting more with the mutual aid community pods, and just mutual aid, period, you know, because you all have the intake calls and everything like that. So just letting you all know that we're here.
Wow.
Well, let me ask you this though. How do you feel about outdoors? I was thinking about a couple of different things. One, the way that we did everything.
Go ahead, put yourself on mute. There you go. No, but yeah. So Shraz, did you see that note in the chat? All right, cool. Yeah, and let's keep that conversation going, right? Because, you know, as y'all know, these goofy moratoriums are month to month now. So that's foolishness. And so with from so many different angles, we're fighting it, right? Like calling people out, identifying who's actually responsible, who does what. So for sake of time, I'm just gonna keep it going. But, you know, if you all haven't thought of anything or something's resonating, like speak up, like, right, where this is a family conversation, right? So
I'll chime in real quick and just say, like, what I really appreciate about what all of you have shared about what you do. It's like how much, just like how much it intersects, you know, and like I think for people who are used to being really involved in like traditional organizations, you're like really used to dealing with like one issue at a time. And it just never feels like enough, because you're like, well, we do food, or we do housing, or we do the environment. And I think what I've learned from mutual aid, and what I like really appreciate seeing from all the people who've been involved, is like you realize it's just not possible to focus on one of those things, to just look at one of those things. Because when you're dealing with like actual people with actual lives, like they're being impacted by 20 different things at once. And if you really want to help that person, you have to deal with like all of those things. And you don't have to do it yourself, you know, which is again why community is so important. But you do have to acknowledge that people aren't just like, you know, it's not, this person isn't just dealing with one issue at a time. It's like everything in their whole life that you have to take into account. So I feel like I just really heard that in like what all of you have been saying, and how it's like, well, then we started doing this and we realized this thing had an impact on them. So just really appreciate that. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, I'm grateful for mutual aid so much with my work, so I can just like really tear up some shit. So to keep things moving, the next question, and like, yo, like if y'all want to return back, oh, Kendra the dog, cute. If y'all want to, you know, chime in on something that was said or whatever, please, like, just like, I don't know, stack or raise the.
Hey, I'm Mary Booth, and I came in last night. I have been a client that you all are serving, but I want to be a resource for you as well. I live and have lived all my life in Spanish Lake, North County, and I see what you're saying. We have a group out here that is all volunteer that has the Twillman House, and they open that up for organizations. They're our community center. It's called the Spanish Lake Community Association, and Julie Griffith is the president, and I know her personally. And and they are doing what you guys are talking about, but there's so much more. Like you were saying, there's so much more that needs to be done. They're doing the we have a food pantry, and they changed that over to where it's a drive-through food pantry. They brought me some produce once a month now. They're bringing me fruit. They've got a farm that, they're doing they're involving the whole community, and they're aware of the women and all that. Now, they did have the Salvation Army come out last year, and it didn't last very long because the attendance was so poor, to bring in people and there was a grant with a Christian Hospital Northeast so that Christian Hospital could set up the medical for them, the Obamacare or whatever, and then that the Salvation Army could then do everything else and hook people into resources. And those two met at the Spanish Lake Twillman House, which is owned by the Community Development Corporation, which has an office upstairs. Now, they have one grant-funded position there, and their focus is a little different, but it still would be, I don't know if you guys have made contact with them, but I can give you, they have their own website too, but they would be a good resource on how to, Julie Griffith, on how they reached out. Like one time I said, hey, what about the seniors? So they did before COVID once a month, a bingo, and they really are community. Let's get this, let's look at this, but they only like to work with organizations. Like they would never allow me to come in and call bingo, because I'm not an organization, or try to get a craft group going. It would have to be an organization, or what they did was they did the bingo, because they're all volunteers. The association is, and then the development corporation is they work on businesses and things like that. But the two of them, and they don't meet together, they're separate, and they let you know they are separate organizations. But they've done a really good job. I say about the last 5 years or more. They have senior fair, they have, and we're small out here. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of African Americans out here, and a lot of low income. So I don't know. I mean, I just wanted to share that with you. If you guys need me, use me.
Yep.
I'm not ambulatory. I don't drive, but I got the names and contacts, and I can, I'll do whatever I can do to help you guys.
Well, that's a part of organizing. So thank you. Erica, you might have a volunteer love over on your side, way out there.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So pass on Kendra or I don't know her name last night. She got all my info. It's Mary Booth.
I'll send it to her right now.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yes, this is what I love. So this is the next great thing. This is why I love mutual aid, right? Because it's always good to know that, this, I always say this, I'm gonna really try to get recording. We didn't start this, and we're not gonna be the ones to finish it, right? And so a lot of times when we do this volunteer work or service work, right? Sometimes we have a tendency to wear it, right? Wear the work. I know I have multiple times. And so, but it's a blessing to be able to see folks like you and all the other community members who are down for the charge to do the work, right? And so that's why I love mutual aid. That's also why I, value this work and why it is so important, because we really were able to connect people with opportunity to serve, because people saw there was a need. They saw that people needed help. They just didn't know how to do it. They didn't know how to do it safely. And mutual aid answered all those calls, right? And so Erica, how did you see the importance of mutual aid and the value that it brought for your community and your work?
Oh my goodness, so it's very, very important. I'm actually in the process of switching over from my phone to my computer finally, because I'm home. I did my last delivery in the van while my husband is waiting for the tow people for my little car. poor little car. But it's been valuable because one, we've been able to get out into the community and really like see and spend more time in Spanish Lake, but also we can't necessarily like talk to families because of COVID. So we do the porch drop-offs, but we have been able to get to know families, because what began happening for us is a lot of families began to be second and third callers, and they've become very comfortable now with calling a red circle and, you know, talking to our volunteers, talking to our workers. And I'm beginning to get to know their names. And like one dad, he had a daughter who graduated high school this year, but because of, you know, COVID, she couldn't actually do a graduation. So I was able to take her a graduation card. So now she's a freshman in college. And so he's sharing with me, you know, how she's doing and what she needs and what they need, things of that nature. So it's really helping to build relationships more than just the transactional, here's some food, you know, see you later. I had one family, it was the wife's birthday, God love them. And because we dropped off food that day, they were able now to have a birthday dinner for the wife. I know. So I was able to take her a card, and because of the work that we're doing with STL Mutual Aid, a lot of groups, people, organizations are learning about us and sending us like gift cards and diapers and other resources so that we continue to get the word out circular, not only from the, you know, from the donor standpoint, but also from the client. So it's really helping to build relationships in North County so that it creates trust, so that when it's time, you know, to, once we're able to meet and able to work on issues, there would be that foundation of trust. Oh, these are the people that helped me win, so let's go see what they're talking about, which will then, you know, help us move some other long-term issues. You know, one of the things that we're working on big in North County is healthy food access. You know, we just have a lot of crap out here. We just have stores on every corner that advertise booze and cigarettes, and the little kids walk past and see that, and, you know, there might be a tomato or an onion, you know, that's their produce section. There might be a jar of cherries, and so they get by with accepting EBT because they sell the bare minimum of fresh produce. You know, we're getting liquor licenses approved faster in North County than we are getting fresh produce. And so we want to, you know, really help to grow the voice of the community, and having these names and contact members and family members is going to really help us drive that point forward.
No, that's right. Thank you for that. Dessa, how you see the value of mutual aid? And well, I mean, there's many reasons why, right? Like, why is it so important with that value?
I think it's really important in our community to build the relationships with each other. I think it breaks down a lot of barriers. We had an instance, a lot of the complaints about the mini food pantry coming from people complaining about the and underhoused community, who are some of the people who were utilizing the mini food pantries. So businesses were complaining to the Chamber of Commerce that they were seeing the underhoused community increase in our neighborhood, and they were not happy about it. And then they connected it to the mini food pantries instead of this like global pandemic and economic crisis. And then they brought it to the city, who then wanted to take down the mini food pantries. So it created a larger conversation about getting to know your neighbors, even if they are underhoused folks. And, you know, hearing businesses complain about a person sleeping on the bench, saying like, well, they don't live here, they don't belong in our community, and having a conversation by saying like, wouldn't it be better to talk, to ask them what they're needing, to ask them how they're doing, to develop relationships with all of our community members, not just the ones who are eating in your restaurants and buying things from your store, but all of us. So I think for me, that's something that we're really trying to push, because we have logistically, we have things in place where we can get programs out, we can get services out, but it's the building relationships, it's the having conversations that might be uncomfortable for people because they're not having them, but it's building community beyond what some people's community normally looks like. And I think that's the real challenge, but I think that's what is ultimately going to make the difference when we kind of talk about things that our city can do, or systemic things that we're talking about and that we can implement.
No, right on. So you froze a little bit there, but so the gist though, I mean, what's awesome is you all are encouraging businesses who are a part of the community to really make a shift about their own awareness and their own perceived values and where they lie, and really holding them to task, as well as officials on like, wait a minute, before you go and make moves because of people who aren't from here and don't live here and pay bills here, please incorporate the values of all community members, right? Before you go and try to make a charge or disrupt somebody's life because of social circumstance. And that's, I mean, right? That's half of the work, right? You change minds and hearts one person at a time, right? And if you change the whole county, or city, you're doing it, right? And that's awesome. That's awesome. So how about the rest of y'all? How do you value mutual aid, and how, like, due to its importance to the work, like what makes it come full circle for you?
Oh, real quick, I wanted to add before the rest of the folks jumped in. What makes it also valuable is not only getting to know the clients, but this way that we're working in community. You know, we've got folks taking the phone calls, we've got folks training, we've got folks doing furniture moving and things of that nature. And so everyone bringing their best selves and their strengths to this work has really made it, strong and grow. And people are starting to notice, like there was an article in I think it was the Riverfront Times, and people started getting donations, and people are calling Julia or reaching out to me and saying, I see you're doing this work. And so they're seeing that we're not just researching and putting out reports and doing, some of the stuff that's necessary, but we're actually getting to the people and getting to the heart of the issues. And so that's one of the big value pieces for me.
Yeah. I know for me, it's like these stories that we hear and that we share amongst ourselves is what I bring to the work, and what I bring when I go into talking with officials who think they know. And I'm like, oh, really? Because in all actuality, this doesn't happen over here that you said you just helping out. So what you gonna do, right? And using the platforms that I'm asked to be at to really lean in. And like, remember Julia, when I sent you that picture from my friend from Barnes who had that mutual aid sign in the nurses break room. So like, you right, when you're in a nurse's break room, they don't just share any resources. So I was like, oh my gosh, how did you get that? I didn't give that to you. So
Jay Marie, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, hey y'all. Thank you for everybody and all the work you've been doing. I know I'm kind of an unfamiliar face right now, but it's nice to be welcome back in and have a little spot to drop in. And I don't have like a super specific like request per se, but I more so wanted to bring something back on the radar that's also very similar to the work I was doing earlier this year. So for those who don't know me, my name is Jay Marie. I use they, them pronouns, and I like to make a big stink about trans stuff and all the things that we could all be doing better to, bring folks with us into the future of life and living, as opposed to like the death and murder that people usually talk about when it comes to trans folks. And so last 2 seasons ago now. In spring, I did this beautiful partnership we had with Mutual Aid and another specific trans and queer specific kind of mutual aid effort fund in the spring, and that raised another 30,000. You know, a nice little 10% of what was going on in the big leagues, but definitely was a part of the team and making sure the hotline was going, all that kind of stuff. But now, part of that work was also to lay the groundwork for what we are doing now, which is we have recently started this sex work coalition called Moho Justice, and yeah, it's interesting because you know, a lot of people are drawn to it from the title, right? They're just like, oh, we can talk about some part of our lives that we can't talk about in other places, but a lot of people aren't necessarily already connected to giving people services per se, and that is something that the coalition wants to do. And like, for example, we have a sex worker caucus inside the group. That is, everything's pretty much still developing. It really just started in June, even though I've been like working on it since December, plus obviously springtime things. But my main thing is like, given that obviously I have been involved in mutual aid and I still read the emails, I'm still peeking in, but I'm very clear that the winter is going to be wild. And also I'm from California. So if I'm clear about the winter being wild and I've just figured out the systems, the seasons, then you know that there's obviously plenty to do. So I'm just kind of laying both the connection out there that like this coalition is forming, and we have like enough of a crew and people are starting to take on work without having to be asked, I would say. And so that's exciting, but I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I say this out loud, and that any work that is happening to give people more supports and to be explicit like about the ways that sex work does show up in life. I think a lot of times we can say that something is like sex worker affirming or whatever, but actually people don't know how to talk through what happens with people in real life, right? Just like Julia was saying, it's not housing or this or that, right? It's like these are things that many folks are struggling with across the board. So I don't have the answers, but given that like through ACLU, I've been able to be like, give me my money so I can do some work with these folks in ways that are going to be inclusive of trans women and trans folks. And it doesn't have to be trans every single moment, because that's actually just not helpful. Some people don't have the range to start there. And so for me, obviously trans folks, trans femme folks are definitely who we're hoping to reach, but those are oftentimes folks who would like exist and operate in very small networks because the world is not safe to operate fully and in your full personhood walking down the street. So I just wanted to let people know about the resource and let people know that we are actively trying to figure out how to absorb like resources, because our vision is that yes, the coalition's gonna, you know, try to challenge different prosecutors and eventually really wants to decriminalize sex work, which we can have longer conversations about decriminalization versus legalization, but so you all know those are different. And like we want to give people the tools to, yes, understand the organizing that the ACLU wants, but at the end of the day, even though the ACLU is not an organization that's like a direct service, I can't do this work with integrity without making sure that there are some things in line, even if I'm not personally like with the capacity to make sure all the dots get connected. I know that there is work that is happening and that we can manage together. And it's just wild how many white women are like super excited about this work, which is great. I will take this white labor and I'm so excited and I'm ready. Like there's so many relationships that are budding. It's not even just about white labor, right? But given that even, for example, like mutual aid, right, is budding in a lot of ways with folks who have capacity, right, to do this extra work as opposed to folks who have been doing this for a long time. So just trying to straddle that and hopeful that we can be a resource to folks who don't understand what sex work is or don't understand the difference between like sex trafficking and sex work, and then like figure out how to make sure that the resource lists that we want to have, the bad date lists that the caucus is going to keep track of, that we can actually keep that, you know, private, but also let people know that it's happening, right? So we can actually resource folks in the places where surveys don't reach, right? And forms with M or F don't reach, right? There's just people dropping in between. So I just wanted to offer that and make sure folks follow us like on Instagram. We have some really cute things you can put out into the world, but really want to make sure it's not just an aesthetically pleasing project, but that it's actually something that really knows how to house and feed people in addition to all the other needs they have, but we're clear and we give people the tools to not be confused or not turn people away because they don't have the range.
That is awesome. J. Marie, I have some folks over at Link STL, was at Hyde Park, that I would love to link you up with, because they're really connected with the community, and that is one of the things that they touch on during the wintertime, because that industry increases around wintertime. So yes.
And it increased during COVID, right? And we've been doing a monthly event every single month because we wanted to be honest about what's really going on, right? And it's like, sex workers are essential workers. I don't even want to know who actually, you know what I'm saying, would not have been able to get those services. And then, you know, out here passing worse bills, whoever these people are, like, you know, like that are receiving this care and these services. But I just want us to be able to have people exist above board. And we do have this survey that's closing pretty soon, but wanted to make sure folks know about that. We're going to be putting out a report in December, so that people do have the range. There's going to be kind of like a big launch event, November, December. And, you know, but then here comes the winter, right? So we want the report to be out and give people the tools and all that good stuff. But also want to make sure that like we can feed and support the work that people are actually doing to take care of folks. And yeah, that's just what I wanted to say out loud. Happy to answer questions. I know I see some messages in the chat, so please message me, hit me up. And this emerging group, we will stay busy, and hopefully we'd love to connect with folks.
Intersectionality, y'all. So how about some other folk? Like, I mean, a lot of y'all that are on this call, literally, I know have been on here for a while with mutual aid. So like, you know, why is this work important to you? Labor of love is an understatement. Kendra, with your front yard, yard. Yeah, it went out to your yard. Poor dogs.
Yeah, it's definitely encroached on my entire like life and yard and basement. Yeah. So yeah, it's worth it. All worth it. So yeah, I guess I can answer that question. I think that this work is important to me because it is, I mean, it's part of building community. I mean, I really believe that this is something that I get from the community and the community gives to me. Like, I don't feel like it's, you know, it's not charity, it's mutual aid, you know? So, yeah, I'm grateful to have the space and time to be able to do this and to work with such amazing people and to be building community in collaboration with a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, we do 150 people per week now. Groceries, cleaning supplies, and groceries, cleaning supplies, produce, and non-perishables to families all over the city. Also furniture, headed by Brian. So it's a team of about like 10 people and 100 volunteers. That includes calling, that includes drivers, that includes everybody. So I was just trying to add up like, how many people is this? It's just so many people. And so it's been a lot. It's been incredibly rewarding. And I mean, today I'm supposed to be taking time off and I went and volunteered at a food drive for 2 hours. I just love doing it. So, so yeah, I think that that's like giving and building the community in a way that is, I mean, I feel like access to healthy food is a right. Like it shouldn't, you know, nobody should have to live in a food desert. Nobody should have inequitable access to going to a grocery store. You know, and this is privilege that, you know, we all have in different ways, you know, and we walk through the world in different ways. And I think that like, you know, I have the privilege of having a vehicle, so I can drive to people's houses and give them food if they don't have it. So, and just like Erica, we started with an itty bitty team and it was me. And then I was like, I can't drive until midnight every day. And so I started asking, I was like, then I found Carolina and then she's like, I'll drive with you 3 days a week. And I was like, all right, let's go. And so, and then it started being, now we have a team of like, you know, 40 drivers. So it's just grown really quickly and really well. And it's really cool to also be able to source food to other organizations like a Red Circle and to Lines. I'm forgetting what it's called. Tell me what it's called.
Multiples, New Northside and the
New Northside, yeah.
There's 3
and,
more.
Metropolitan Congregations United. So yeah, I am, I feel like I'm just doing what people do is to build a community and to grow each other. And like, it's helped me grow tremendously being part of this. And I'm really grateful for that.
Well, that's awesome. And so look, y'all, this question, like, even though you might not chime in today, I want you to write that question down. And then when you fill it out, like write it out for yourself, put it somewhere, because that is your why, right? And in organizing, we have to be very clear about our why, because there will come a time, and I'm sure we all went through it doing this, that we don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to get up and do it. I want to sleep. I don't want to answer this phone no more. But your clarity about your why is the thing that, you know, after you get past that, then you're just like, okay, if I do this and do this, then I can do that, right? And that's that driving force when you feel like you got nothing else to give, you know. Go ahead, mama. Can't hear you.
Hey, okay, I'm back. I've been here. I'm still here, trying to get this out to the people. And so I just wanted to, like, really real quick, say something. And I hate to run, but I gotta get the people fed. But, you know, always love, like, working with each and every one of y'all that, you know, I've had the pleasure over the years to work with, especially during this pandemic. We got each other, for real. And, you know, our village got us, so that's just all love. That's the revolution, right? Thank you so much for letting me come and sit in the same space with you all. Anytime, and just to make it clear, I do have an abundance of clothing, brand new stuff, clothes, shoes, hygiene stuff. I got a whole storage space that's full of brand new suits, coats, everything else. So if you guys need stuff, please reach out to me. I'm not good at always checking my email, but you can hit me on my Facebook. You could call me 757-897-5212. I'm here always ready to get into it. And if you got families also, I do have an allowance to go and shop groceries for families, which I do that. So when you, Erica, when you need a little break or something, you know, your squad, just holler at me.
You're so awesome.
We here.
Mama
Love you,
Cat.
Mama Cat.
I love you too.
Always.
Thank you.
Love you,
I'll
Mama
see y'all
Cat.
all right, and
Yes,
kids, I hope you in Texas. If you ain't, you in trouble.
I'm going tomorrow. I changed my ticket.
Yeah,
Right.
All right,
Kendra.
y'all. All love.
Right.
Love you.
All love.
Love you too, babe. Bye-bye. I gotta figure out how to get out of here.
So yeah, it's like being clear about your why, being clear about, you know, what gets you up to even do this work when it's hard, right? And that's going to help you get through, right? But then also self-care, Kendra, and everybody else up on this, right? Because once you burnt out, then you start cursing at people when you don't mean to, you know. So like, let's just be clear on that. So just be honest and be vulnerable, like we call in community to do the same, right? We are community. We're part of the community because we're going through the pandemic too. And so, you know, you can tap and be like, yo, I need help. Anybody help me, please? Somebody will answer. So, yeah, so, you know, for the sake of time, I'm kind of like gonna jump through some of these questions because there's some juicy ones. But how has doing mutual aid open up opportunities for your organizing? I mean, we've said a lot of that here, but anything that we haven't said.
Well, I was thinking maybe if it's cool with folks, we could do a closing round and just let everybody share a thought of something they're thinking about from the conversation tonight, and then we'll just wrap up early.
Yeah, that's clear. I guess I wasn't reading clear. It's been a long day, so.
That's all good.
So for the sake of that, you know what, Julia, because since you started that, I'm gonna let you start, and then to help us move through it, I love popcorning. So you just call on somebody.
Sounds good. Well, thanks everybody. This was really insightful, and I'm just appreciating the chance to like reflect and like think about. Things happen so quickly and so much has gone on, and it feels like I've in the trenches with a lot of you. So it's nice to like just kind of sit back and really think and understand what we've done, because we've done a lot and there's a lot more to do. So we gotta fortify ourselves and be really clear about what it is we're actually trying to accomplish together, so we don't spin our wheels and also don't burn out. So just thinking about that right now. I'll pass it to Anaí.
Yeah, it's just hearing all these like different organizations that are out there, like that I had no idea. And it's just amazing to hear all the work that everyone has done and just like are planning to accomplish. I kind of just want to like be of service. I'm pretty new to mutual aid and joining, so I really just want to help out and like be a part of any pods or like transporting food or finding donations. So yeah, just please like use me as any way you see fit, because I really want to help support you guys with everything that everyone's doing. Before I moved to the Grove, I lived in North County, so I'm pretty familiar with that area. That's where my mom lives. So if you need anything there, or yeah, I'm willing to go long distances, or yeah. I guess I will popcorn it to, I guess, Brian.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brian. It's been an inspiring conversation. I'm not here really as a community organizer so much as I am here to listen to community organizers speak and reflect on, where my efforts can support them and that work. So mission accomplished. Thanks very much. Let's see, Kaya, how about you? Have I missed anything? That was it, right? Kaya, you're up.
Hi, I am deeply grateful for being here in the space with everybody, and I'm really reflecting right now and digesting everything said. I'm so hungry to hear different people's perspectives and experience. It's really sustaining, and it's really, I don't know, it's like I'm eating it, I'm digesting it, and so thankful. I'm new in the last couple of months, and I have so many questions and so much I'm learning. So I really, really appreciate the time everyone's taken to communicate and share. And I'm also here to jump in, however I can be of service. So please know that and call on me. Thank you all. And let's see. I will pass it. I'll pass it to, let's see, to Lou. Is that Lou on there?
Yeah, hi. I am here at the park with, see if I'll turn my camera, with a whole bunch of folks. We had this playing on a speaker. So we've got Diana and Jim, Maggie and Roy, Jess and Aaron, Marty Joe. And I think all of us were just listening in, and just to echo the sentiments of everyone before, I think we're all just here to listen to organizers and figure out what we can do. So hopefully we can be seen as people who want to plug in to some of the organizing that everyone is so beautifully starting. I will, or continuing to do. I will pass to Katie.
Hi, I really appreciate this conversation. This is giving me a lot of insight into the larger picture of what's going on with mutual aid, and where my head is at right now is gratitude for the summit and being able to connect and listen to all of these speakers, because the real thing I'm thinking about right now is the interconnectedness of all of this. Every single speaker is already spoke to the questions I have been thinking about during this break, because I'm thinking about the individuals in my pod, and I'm thinking about the hotline callers I spoke to before we had this break. And it's incredible that you've already answered some of the questions and given me some of the resources that I was looking for. So thank you so much. And I will pass it to Erica.
We unmute. So thank you, Julia, for inviting me to kind of share my experience with STL Mutual Aid and a Red Circle. I cannot wait until we can actually all just be together in person and have these meaningful meetings and summits and meals and beverages and wine and other good stuff together to really get to know each other. Yesterday's session was pretty deep, but there were so many people on the call who I didn't know. And so I'm not always comfortable just kind of digging into the mushy stuff with people I don't know. So I just really want to just continue to lift up everything that everyone is doing and continue to stay encouraged and stay the course. Eventually we will be past the pandemic and the social distancing, but still being able to do this work. So it will then grow another notch to become even more meaningful. So, just keep at it, and, just keep doing the good work, but take breaks when you need to, actual breaks, Kendra, not, but just, keep at it, because we are all we have, and we have to take care of each other so that we can take care of the greater community. There are so many needs out there, and people call us and they're not sure if it was a Red Circle, a Mutual Aid, or St. Louis Quarantine, but someone's going to bring them food. And so eventually, we'll be able to make some of these long-term changes that we need so that we're not having so many immediate short-term needs. Like pandemics will hit, but it won't slam certain communities like they did this time around, because we will have put resources in place ahead of time. So just keep it up. And, if anyone wants to volunteer with a Red Circle to do driving, to, help sort, do any of that kind of stuff, I put my email in the chat. I addressed it to Anahi. Yes. Because she mentioned that she's available to volunteer and that her mom lives in North County. So, but anyone is welcome to call me, email me. If anyone just wants to get some advice about, getting some structure and organization around their own work that they're doing, I'm happy to share, a little bit of insight that I have on that. So thank you all. And I will pass it to, is it Shiraz?
And you are right. Thank you. I just appreciate everybody so much. And I just want to say to you all, please take care of yourself. Please give yourself permission to pause, to cry, to sleep. I will say that again, to go to sleep, because we need to rest in order to have the capacity to solve these problems. So yeah, just want to say thank you all for having me on this call, and I'm here to be of service. Also with the IHN, we can rope people into care as well. So if you ever come into contact with a community member who is uninsured or underinsured, we have a whole team of CRCs, community referral coordinators, 14 that are hospital-based, 2 that are community-based. So when I say we want to be in collaboration with groups, we mean it, because a lot of people think the IHN is a large organization, and we are not. Actually, my team ballooned it to probably its record number of employees, but we're like at 30 people on the staff. So we're kind of small, nimble. So, I put my contact information in the chat. If you all need me to put it back in there, please feel free to reach out so we can do the best for our community members, because we all we got. I know that's been echoed a lot this evening, but it is the truth. So I will go ahead and pass it off to Kendra.
Hi everyone. I'm just getting so excited about everyone saying that we could contact them, the different resources that everyone has. Yeah, I forgot what I was actually going to say. And I forgot what question we're answering. What question are we answering?
The question is, like, how would you summarize what you got out of tonight?
Oh, yeah, I just say like I got joy and like collaboration and like community. I feel super grateful for this community for myself. I think that like this has fulfilled me in a way that I have never felt. Like I just feel like a big hug of St. Louis, even though we can't hug right now. Because I'm only 10 and a half months old here, so 11 months old. I'm brand new, moved from California. So yeah, I'm really grateful for this, and I'm really grateful that although I'm doing this work every single day, that like there's more resources and more community to build and more people to bring in and lift up, and that we get to build community together. So I'm really grateful for this space and this time and to be able to share it with all of you. So thank you. I'd like to pass to Elena.
Hello, everyone. I just hearing all these, good things what people doing is just amazing. It's just, I don't know how I can say the word. May I say in Spanish? But a lo mejor lo digo en español. No, but it's just, it's just amazing. And just I want to say to everyone, thank you, what you do. Thank you. Thank you. So that's what I just can say. Thank you, everyone. Just, you're doing a great job. It's just amazing what you're doing. And I will pass to, let's see, Julia.
I already went, but I'll pass to Dessa.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Thanks. It's gotten really, it's not even that dark, but I'm refusing to go inside. So it might be hard to see me, but I don't care, damn it. I'm going to stay outside. I think I have taken everybody's energy from this. And I think that's my big takeaway, like seeing other people doing the work and like the energy people have and speaking about it. That's my big takeaway tonight. I have been feeling kind of annoyed at people calling my phone all the time. And like just during this, I got the same person called me 4 times and I just stopped calling, like, leave me alone. And it's nice to get that energy of like, I'm not alone. There are other people who are doing this and it's for the right reasons. And I can put my phone on silent and it will be okay. It will be okay. So yeah, I appreciate everybody in this community. I think just having everybody's support has been so helpful. Mariah, are you there?
I am. Can people hear me? I can't really tell. Hold on. I'm also outside on a walk and my phone is being crazy.
You're great. You're doing great.
Okay. Okay, yeah, people can see me. Great. I stopped walking. Okay, so actually, Dessa, I'm so glad you called on me because I feel exactly the same way you do. Yeah, I think when I normally thought about community organizing, I was like very overwhelmed by the idea. Like a lot of it has been like, a lot of my experience has been like working with community organizers or working alongside them, but not doing it myself, and like feeling very intimidated by that work and like also learning the hard way that like cold canvassing is not for me. But this conversation has left me feeling both really humbled by the work that other people are doing, and really inspired to continue doing the work in my neighborhood. Like we have a small, like ragged crew of people who have like really fallen, I mean, not to be dramatic, but like feels like we've really fallen in love with one another and the work that we're doing together. And that is a thing to be very grateful for. And so, yeah, this past month has been like a lot of transition for me. And I'm very glad that like one of the things when I thought about like, okay, what do I need to let go in order to make space for what's new? I was very intentional about wanting to keep mutual aid in my life. And so I'm excited to see where that takes me and like where that takes us over as the neighborhood over the next several months. And then I will call on, trying to see who.
We got Leah left. Also,
oh, that's it? Okay.
Anaí said that she lives at the Grove, so.
I know, it's literally on a Post-it note on my desk from you last night to email her. I'm sorry. I will do it tomorrow morning. All right, Leah.
No worries. So don't hurt yourself about it. Just Anaí, you gotta connect. So to summarize a lot of stuff, like this is what it's all about, right? There's about like 4 of y'all on here that I've worked with in some capacity over 10 years time. Julia, I'm throw you in here because we've been like that sisterhood literally is real because you go through the trenches together. You do the shit that other people are supposed to do, but they're not doing. So y'all work different ways on how to hold people accountable, but also answer the call to community, right? And so, nowadays it's like Julie don't have to even tell me what the fuck she want me to do. I just be like, what do you want me to do? Let me figure out the calendar time because I've worked with her that long, right? Shraz, when I saw her on this call, I was like, oh, we about to get healing, y'all. We're about to go get some wounds taken care of because she's a healer, right? And I've had the pleasure to get to know Kendra and Erica, and then to even see you all and see the family, the organizing family that is rooted, right? And in serving community, but speaking truth to power, right? So I want to encourage you that that's what our fundamentals of what our country was meant to and placed on, right? We were founded technically, originally, before all the extra bullshit went down, right? To stand up and speak truth to power, for people to have the right to actually obtain their dreams without any for real limits, as long as you don't hurt nor kill nobody, right? It was always greed that got in the way. So whenever anybody tries to get in and be like, oh, well, you're too much of this, you're too much of that, what you are is the example of what a true patriot looks like. You don't allow no bullshit to go past your nose or to harm nobody that's right across from you. Because if you're struggling, that means I'm going to struggle, or I'm struggling too, and be damned that. So congratulations. Welcome to the fold. We're not a cult, but it's hard to get into other organizations once you start doing this. I'm just saying. And look, I left my information there. I do a lot of organizing with multiple organizations. And, I love figuring out ways to help out my neighbors and just being there. And even just encouraging word, or just to tell you, go take a vacation, Kendra, right? So just know that you in a good community. And so take care of yourself, take care of each other. And I'll see y'all out there. Have a good night.
Bye. Good night,
Love
everyone.
y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.